Hey, what's up? This is Laidback Luke, DJ and producer, Kung Fu athlete, and family guy. Last week I saw in the comments that you wanted to know how I started DJing. From the very beginning, I wasn't very successful either, and I didn't have many skills. This will be a trip down memory lane for me as well, so stay tuned as we go into the true story and the real life right here.
Nobody but you and I can be your paradise.
It's good to be back in Vegas, out here to perform at Intrigue nightclub tonight. Let me tell you all about how it started. I first started as a producer when I was 15 years old, and then when I was 18 I got my first record deal and I started to put out records. Back in the mid-90s it was all female DJs coming up, and my ex-wife, back then my girlfriend, wanted to become a DJ as well. So she bought this whole setup and she tried to start mixing on it, but she decided that it wasn't for her. So the setup was sitting in my studio and I decided to start DJing to optimize my productions, just to know what DJs would need when I would produce a track for them. And since then and there, I got hooked. My first setup wasn't proper at all. It was 2 belt drive vinyl players, and belt drive was actually like the cheapest version of when you would try to scratch and you would let go of the record, it would go like, and then it would go. The top-notch players were the SL1200 players by Techniques, but those were super, super expensive. It actually took me 1.5 years to get enough money together to buy one SL1200 player, and then another 1.5 years to buy my second one. And not even the proper DJ mixer, and back then it was all about the DATEC mixers with the knobs upside down and the really long faders. That was the so-called professional setup. It's kind of late in Vegas already and I need to get ready for my show, but stay tuned, I'll have much more info for you, as starting out wasn't easy for me either. Oh hey, such a good party tonight. A really good crowd with awesome vibes. Nothing feels better than to actually nail a set on a night like that. And I still very much enjoy playing on the fly. This comes down to a lot of technique, and I will tell you tomorrow how I exactly became this skilled as a DJ. Actually, I had the talent for the mixing, but my first couple of mixes and my first couple of mixtapes sucked so hard. My ex-wife used to say, you know, I would sneak in like a mixtape. Whenever she heard a mistake on the tape, she said, "Oh, this must have been you mixing, right?" And the secret to my technique is really all about practice. I would record an hour at night. Then when I would wake up the next day, I would listen back to the hour and to see where I made mistakes, what combinations sounded good, where I could pick up the energy, where I could do more tricks. And it was just really a long road of making a lot of mistakes, going back at it and practicing. The first time I played in a radio studio, I was so upset because I couldn't get any transition to work. And you know why? Because the sound was different than what I used to. And so from there on, for every show, I would switch up my setup. I would switch up my speakers in my studio, 2 decks on one side, and then just anything that would make me get used to a different setup. If you're getting ready for a show or getting ready to play somewhere else, other than your bedroom, this might be a good idea. This is 2 hours of sleep right here, or not even 1.5. And we're out to Hawaii next, taking 2 flights today. Bam.
Bam.
So there it is. We pass by here very often, and Justin finally caved in today. How many calories is this?
880.
This would take about 2.5 hours of full kickboxing cardio to burn this off. I was totally confused. We're actually taking one flight out to Hawaii, so I guess this is flight number 1 and 2.
Can I take you there? Somewhere far where nobody cares who we are, what we're doing here. I just wanna ride, no ceiling. I want that Sunday feeling with the wind in your hair and the sun on my lips in the middle of nowhere. I could be your best trip, everything you need I got. I know just what you like. I can be your paradise.
It's good to be in Hawaii. The temperatures are tropical, the sun is out, palm trees out. Too bad I can only be here for no more than 12 hours. So I often get the question, am I still nervous before I go on? And the funny thing is, no, I'm not. But in my beginning years, this was very different. In the first 2 years that I performed, I was so nervous that it kind of felt like throughout the week as if someone was gonna kill me during the weekend. I remember coming to my shows and trying to put the needle on the vinyl, and I couldn't do it because of my shaky hands, so I'm super happy that changed. I landed a couple of my first gigs thanks to Carl Cox, who supported my remix of Green Velvet's The Stalker. Mind you though, I wasn't super successful, so I had a period after that as well where I only had like one show per every 6 months. And I remember the feeling of frustration, and I'm telling you this because you'll easily get discouraged if times are quiet. But the real key to success is longevity. And longevity comes with just small successes every time. Eventually, over the years, this will build up into like a very successful career. Actually, I was exactly the same as you. I was just the one guy that kept up and kept working hard to realize his dream. Time now for me to do a bit of Kung Fu outside, a workout with Justin. We'll eat something as well. And then after, it's time for my show. After my show, I will come back to you with some essential tips and tricks for when you're starting out with DJing. Great sleep, showtime in Hawaii now. Let's do this. Such a good crowd out in Hawaii. So I promise you some tips and tricks. If you're watching right now and you're interested in starting to DJ and you have nothing set up yet, I always recommend getting the PC program called Virtual DJ. With this, you can check out if you actually like DJing, and you can just learn how to mix and transition. If you're good with Virtual DJ, I would always recommend buying a controller. You don't really need to have the hardware set up if you're still trying to see if DJing is something for you. And if you are serious about this, it'll always be good to invest. So if some equipment is really expensive and you're thinking, oh, I'm never gonna pay that or anything, how would you expect to become more successful in this? Try and save up and try and make it work. And with my career as well, coming up, starting up, a lot of people told me, no, you can't do this. No, there's enough DJs. Why do you think you can make money from this? Is giving up on your dream more important than actually pursuing your dream? If I can do it, you can do it. You just gotta work really hard for it and go for it no matter what. And so I told you about my early nerves when I started out DJing. How to exactly battle these nerves when you're about to go on. So obviously, you'll need to have the proper amount of practice and preparation. But then when you get to the stage or to the club or behind the DJ decks, just imagine yourself playing in your bedroom or in your bedroom studio, because the setup is pretty much the same. It's you behind the desk. And don't worry about the crowd. Don't worry about where you're at. Just worry about playing the music that you love. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed the tips and tricks and a trip through memory lane with me. Next week, I'm going to be working out with Tavi Castro. He's a very famous guy in the fitness industry, and I'll show you how he did Kung Fu with me and how I did an epic session of pushing weights with him. Hit that subscribe button to not miss out, and I will catch you back here next week. Until then, L's up, rave safely, and salute.